Have you ever seen Inception? Do you remember that opening scene where Leonardo DiCaprio washes up on the shore? He's got the waves behind him and the sand in his hands as he wakes up. The entire movie is about a dream within a dream. Well, guys, this is where that comes from. Uh, Christopher Nolan, it turns out, must be a great big Edgar Allan Poe fan. Now, this poem is one that can seem sort of sing-songy. It can seem sort of willy-nilly. It can seem sort of kind of throwaway. But if you're willing to dig into it a little bit, I think that there is definitely something there we're talking about, and there is something there that you can see sort of roiling under the surface in a whole lot of Edgar Allan Poe's work. A lot of Edgar Allan Poe's protagonists or speakers, however you want to call them, are kind of weird and kind of seem as if they are either about to skip town or they have just skipped town. Now, this video is in 3 playlists here on the channel. Number 1 being the Poetry Discussion playlist, now approaching 700 videos strong. Number 2, the Edgar Allan Poe playlist. And number 3, the playlist of 30 must-read poems. And the videos in the 30 must-read poem playlist have 3 parts. They start with a quick biography of the writer, moving into the types of literature that writer writes, that poet writes, and finally an analysis of the poem itself. So, who was Edgar Allan Poe? Edgar Allan Poe was born January 19th, 1809, in Boston, Massachusetts. For reference, this was the same year Abraham Lincoln and Alfred Lord Tennyson were born. It was also the year the Illinois Territory was established. It was the year Thomas Paine died. It was also the year intercourse ended. Not that intercourse. President Thomas Jefferson signed an act allowing trade with all other countries except Britain and France. Edgar Allan Poe's father, David Poe Jr., was American, and his mother, Elizabeth Arnold Hopkins, was born in London, but both were actors. David seems to have been an alcoholic and struggled to provide for his 3 children, only 2 of whom were born by the time David disappeared. Baby Edgar was only 7 months old at that time. The rest of David's life is mysterious, but Edgar recounts that his father was dead within 2 years. The rest of his mother's life, while not as mysterious, was just as short. In 1811, the promising young actress began spitting blood. And December 8th of that year, it is believed that tuberculosis took her life. Poe, nearly 3 years old, was separated from his brother William and his sister Rosalie. The young Edgar would go to Richmond to live with John Allan and his wife, Frances. In 1815, the family moved to the United Kingdom for 5 years before returning to Richmond, Virginia. In 1826, Poe enrolled to the University of Virginia, but the excursion would be short-lived. Poe's side of things was that his foster father, James Allan, who was exceptionally wealthy, had not provided him enough funds. But the truth seems to be that Poe was exceptionally bad at gambling, and by April of 1827 he had moved to Boston, where he found work and began writing using the synonym Henri Larenais. This stint would be even shorter-lived, and by the end of May, Henri Larenais became Private Edgar A. Perry. But only a couple of months later, his collection, Tamerlane and Other Poems, was published and credited to a Bostonian. It was met with critical negligence and, frankly, so little fanfare that early Poe anthologist and late Poe rival Rufus Wilmot Griswold questioned whether or not it had ever existed at all. Poe did well enough in the military for him to become a sergeant major for the artillery and finagle his way into being allowed to enter West Point. In 1829, Poe's second collection, Al-Araf, Tamerlane, and Minor Poems was met with critical acclaim. And by 1831, he had finagled his way out of West Point and made his way to New York, where he would publish his third book, the enigmatically titled Poems. Throughout the 1830s, Poe would write and edit and managed to scrap together enough of a living through letters. He also got a license to marry a woman 13 years younger than himself, which may seem a bit odd just on the outset. But when you remember that Edgar Allan Poe was 26 years old at the time, it becomes an even more extreme case. And when you add on top of it, that young girl was his cousin. Moving along, in 1838, Poe moved to Philadelphia, and after sharpening his craft on short stories, he published his only novel, the narrative of Arthur Gordon Pym of Nantucket. The next year, he took the position of editor at Burton's Gentleman's Magazine, to the tune of a lofty $10 per week, a sum that translates to roughly $345 per week today. He was fired the next year. In 1842, his wife Virginia fell ill, possibly with the early stages of tuberculosis, and Poe began to drink heavily. In 1845, The Raven was published and went supernova, and Poe's name went with it. In 1846, Poe and his wife moved to New York, and the next year, Virginia died. Shortly thereafter, Poe moved back to Richmond. October 3, 1849, a man named Joseph W. Walker found Edgar Allan Poe lying in a state of delirium and described as lying in the gutter. He was taken to the hospital, but he was in very bad condition. On October 6th, Poe is said to have cried out the name of someone named Reynolds several times, but he was not conscious or lucid long enough to explain who Reynolds was or what happened to him. On October 7th, 1849, Edgar Allan Poe died, aged 40. Edgar Allan Poe is mostly known for writing Gothic literature, Gothic poetry, etc. So what is Gothic fiction? Gothic fiction is characterized by an environment of fear, the threat of supernatural events, and the intrusion of the past upon the present. The setting typically includes physical reminders of the past, especially through ruined buildings that stand as proof of a previously thriving world that is now decaying. Characteristic Gothic settings in the 18th and 19th centuries include castles and religious buildings such as monasteries, convents, and crypts. The atmosphere is typically claustrophobic, and common plot elements include vengeful persecution, imprisonment, and murder. The depiction of horrifying events in Gothic fiction often serves as a metaphorical expression of psychological or social conflicts. The form of a Gothic story is usually discontinuous and convoluted, often incorporating tales within tales, changing narratives, and framing devices such as discovered manuscripts or interpolated histories. Other characteristics, regardless of relevance to the main plot, can include sleep-like and death-like states, live burials, doubles, unnatural echoes or silences, the discovery of obscured family ties, unintelligible writings, nocturnal landscapes, remote locations, and dreams. In the late 19th century, Gothic fiction often involved demons and demonic possession, ghosts, and other kinds of evil spirits. Take this kiss upon the brow, and, in parting from you now, thus much let me avow. You are not wrong who deem that my days have been a dream. Yet if hope has flown away, in a night or in a day, in a vision or in none, is it therefore the less gone? All that we see or seem is but a dream within a dream. I stand amid the roar of a surf-tormented shore, and I hold within my hand grains of the golden sand. How few, yet how they creep through my fingers to the deep while I weep, while I weep. O God, can I not grasp them with a tighter clasp? O God, can I not save one from the pitiless wave? Is all that we see or seem but a dream within a dream? So this is a bit of an ethereal poem, I'll give you that, and I think that at the onset, first reading, it could seem like a big nothing burger, so what? But I want to go through a little bit more, starting here. Take this kiss upon the brow, and, in parting from you now, thus much let me avow, you are not wrong who deem that my days have been a dream. So our speaker here is leaving, going somewhere, and he is saying, you were right, I have been dreaming. This does not mean asleep, it means dreaming, right? Maybe. There's several different levels to what this could mean. Yet if hope has flown away in a night or in a day, in a vision or in none, is it therefore the less gone? So hope has left our speaker. It is left in a night or in a day, in a vision or in none. Very, very sort of interesting there. Is it therefore the less gone? All that we see or seem is but a dream within a dream. There's great power in imagination. If you look around you, the entire world in which you're living is built simply with the powers of imagination. I stand amid the roar of a surf-tormented shore, and I hold within my hand grains of the golden sand. Is this true? Are we building this picture just to give your reader an image of being lost and the grains of sand? Well, that's time slipping away. So I have woken up from this dream, not necessarily from this sleep, and I am realizing that I have to go. Wherever it is I have to go, I have to go. But I am waking up from this dream and realizing that the sands of time are falling from my hand. How few, yet how they creep through my fingers to the deep. I don't have a whole lot of time left, as all of my life has become sand passing through my fingers, falling into the ground, the deep, where our speaker too knows that he will end up. While I weep, O God, can I not grasp them with a tighter clasp? I am sad that my time is expiring, that my time is going up. Why can't I hold on to these precious few grains of sand, this precious little time, all the more tightly? O God, can I save one from the pitiless wave? The pitiless wave, oh, a little bit of nihilism, a little bit of existential dread here. The pitiless wave of time. We are but blades of grass thrown into an uncaring wind. We are but grains of sand washed away by a pitiless wave. Is all that we see or seem but a dream within a dream? Is all that we see Everything that we look at in this world, is that a dream within a dream? Is all that we seem? All that it seems to be us? Is that what it is to be a dream within a dream? Is nothing that we know or look upon real? There is a quote from Jean Piaget, and this probably is not a direct quote. It's one of these things that is so sort of simply put that I think oftentimes the quotes get turned around either in our minds or in requotes, but we do not discover reality, we construct it. So I want to read from Wikipedia. Constructivism. What is constructivism? In education, it is a theory that suggests that learners do not passively acquire knowledge through direct instruction. Instead, they construct their understanding through experience and social interaction, integrating new information with their existing knowledge. This theory originates from Swiss developmental psychologist Jean Piaget's theory of cognitive development. Now, we do not simply take in reality. We do not simply take in knowledge. We construct it as we go. Well, you can see very simply the problems there. You can have faulty mechanisms with the sensory data, right? If you do not see the color blue, to you, the color blue does not exist. That's a fault with the sensory data coming in. But there could also be problems with the interpretive mechanisms. Every time someone tells you they like your haircut, you think they're making fun of your haircut. Well, maybe they just actually like your haircut. That is a problem with the interpretive mechanism. That's a problem in your brain. It's a problem with the way you're reading the data. Now, both of those things can also be true. Maybe you don't see the color of your hair, so you constantly keep it short. And in this, people say that you have a nice haircut. You don't even know that you have a haircut. This is a silly example, but you understand what I'm saying. You understand what I'm doing here. There could be problems with both of these mechanisms. You can have problems in the way that you perceive the world, and then problems in the way that you interpret the data. This sends you very, very far off of what reality is. And undoubtedly, you know people like this. Undoubtedly, you know people who bit and piece information that they take in, and in that way, they are completely blind to some forms of knowledge and information. There's some things they simply do not pay attention to. For me, I don't really look at the news. Don't really care. Right? To me, that part of stuff just doesn't exist. Well, it exists in reality, but it's not in my world. Not the nightly news. I don't do it. I don't care. What are you going to tell me? How many people were shot downtown today? Who cares? I don't watch sitcoms. Doesn't exist to me. Who cares? Right? So those things exist in reality. There are people who will make references to sitcoms. I just have no idea what's going on. There will be people who talk about the traffic accident on the highway yesterday, completely oblivious. Those things don't exist to me. The interpretive data is stuff that is maybe a little bit more difficult to see, right? But you know people like this as well. You know people who have an inflated ego, but there's no reason they should. Right? They interpret a whole lot of the information coming into them as they are good at things, and they should not. Likewise, on the opposite end of things, you know people who were absolutely crushed by life, despite the fact that they shouldn't be. They are not they are not as bad at anything as they think they are at everything. So, what happens if you realize this? What happens if you wake up one day and you realize that the way you had seen the world is completely wrong, busted, gone? And you have wasted your entire life to this point seeing things in that way. What happens? You dedicate your entire life to making it to the NBA, but you're 5'7" and you can't shoot a jump shot. You can dedicate your life to it. No one's going to, well, hopefully someone in your life stops you, but probably they won't. You can spend every waking moment that way, can't you? And it will not make a difference. But what happens if one day you wake up to that? One day you wake up and realize, oh, I'm 5'7" and I can't jump to save my life, and I really can't even hit free throws no matter how many times I shoot the ball. You will realize that whatever age you are, that's how many years you've wasted. Maybe you've enjoyed them, but where did it get you? Take this kiss upon the brow, and in parting from you now, thus much let me avow, you are not wrong who deem that my days have been a dream. Is that where we are with this poem? This is someone realizing that they have wasted their life. This is someone realizing that their efforts have been for naught. This is someone who is realizing that they have to change things, and there's no way to change things where they are. At this point, you have sullied so much of your life. Maybe it's better to just go somewhere else and start anew. That is all I have for this poetry discussion. If you like or appreciate what it is that I do here, hitting the like button really does help me out, as it tells YouTube to share this video with other literature lovers. And if you find yourself here by chance but not design, literature is the only thing I talk about on the channel, dropping multiple videos every single week. There's poetry every Monday, and I hope to have you back for the next one.